Hello, welcome back. This is the second video in series of many videos on study methods. And welcome to this program. My name is Tesfai Wanshaw. I developed this training video on study methods for my students long ago, but I found it's also useful for others, and I like to share with you. Last time we on the first video we've seen thinking and mental processes. That had the 7 levels of thinking, and we saw that these levels of thinking are very important in information processing and also in understanding stuff and remembering, and also involves these levels involve much of study. These levels are very useful because this help us to link new knowledge we acquired to our experiences, our old knowledges, so that we can chunk them together and help us remember. That's called how we accumulate knowledge of similar experience, similar situations. We uh, associate them. So association, as we will see later on, is the best way of studying. And these levels of thinking also help us to organize information, and also organized information are very easy to remember. So we remember them because we put them in a well organized and linked, chunked, or associated manner. Today uh, we're gonna see memory, thinking, and memorization. How we memorize stuff. What is our memory actually? Where is it? What kind of memories do we have? In a general sense, we have what is called short-term memory and long-term memory. This is categorized based on for how long we hold information and where we hold it. So the short-term memory is a temporary information storage area. This is just like a computer programming, which actually is very analogous, very similar to our mind. So let's say if we open a word processor and start writing something, that is where it is short memory. We can see it and we are writing on it. Actually, we are getting information into it. But unless we save that information will be gone because we didn't save it. So that information stays like in our mind. We hear it or we sense it, and we didn't bother to think about it. We didn't bother to analyze about the information and do some kind of talking about it. We didn't bother to save it, so the information will be gone. We only remember it for that moment, maybe for the next few days, and then we will forget it because that information is not important for us. So the information we think is not important, or we didn't bother to process it, do thinking on it, only stays in the short-term term memory, and that's a temporary storage place, and it will be gone. But when we say short-term is like in a word processor, open it now, just write something, close it without saving, that can happen in a minute. But in our brain, it is just not just like that. Maybe days, sometimes weeks, and then we'll be lost. But The long-term memory is where we store information that we value actually. When we value information, when we think that information is important, or even when we don't value it, but when our system, our body think that is information that it should keep for survival, for example, for something that it thinks like it is a treat, or it is annoying, or it is very critical for our life and very interesting. In a way, we manipulate the information that we received, and that is us being valued in our brain, in our mind, and then we keep remembering it. Even we sometimes we remember long ago experience we have in childhood. That time is long ago, but still we remember because that was maybe when we like maybe we were hard, maybe we were very much excited, very happy, maybe where we have a very exceptional visions or visualization thing, maybe where we have experienced it, very important event that we remember them because that moment we valued it, we were excited about it, and we saved that information. But learning in classrooms not like that. When we may not be excited, we may not be like, okay, fine, we don't like that. I remember the day I went to school. That's my excitement. I even remember how I walked. But in high schools, in universities, the most important thing in to keep information in a long-term memory is rehearsal. Rehearsal, it means studying, mean doing it again and again, or reading it again and again, seeing it again and again, feeling it again and again, and it will we will repeat it. We will do it again and again, and we remember. We start that way, and we remember it. Rehearsal also is not just like doing stuff now, reading letter by letter, but when we do, we should we should form some kind of organized or chunked information, and then filed or kept in a very systematic way. We will come to that, how we do that, how we organize, how we associate. That is actually, these are very important concepts in studying material. We organize and associate. There are there are ways students do, or people who study do, and we will see those in few times in next videos. Then once we organize and keep the information properly, it is as so simple as finding a book in a well organized library. The books are maybe theme based, subject matter based, like maybe sociology, psychology, biology, physics, and that, and then each one of them will have a section of the library and the shelves, and on the shelf they have where the levels they will be they are organized, and the librarian or the student can easily go using a number of where it is stored, go and find the book easily, one touch, maybe one or two books being checked, touched, and then in the next few minutes we will find it. If information is stored and processed and stored in a very fashionable way in our mind, it is easy to remember. That's actually why we need to study, why we need study methods. We organize that and put it and remember, and then we tell the story in the exam setting. But if we don't do that, if we just keep information as we get them, we never rehearse, never organize, never try board to associate them. It is just like finding a book in a pile of books in a room. We'll never get that book, or we if to get that book we may be let's say we touch 50% of or 20% of that book, and then get the book probably. But in the exam setting, we don't have that time to think and sit down, think and the think and the think. No, we don't have that time. We may not even remember at all because we don't keep it. We didn't value it, and we didn't keep it. We didn't associate with any other event or any other material or any other experience or knowledge we have. So it will be lost, and it is really hard or impossible to remember it. Why? Why is organizing and rehearsing is important? Because information will fade away, will be slowly going out of our mind. It's probably because we are adding more information to our mind, and our mind's capacity when the information is not organized is very limited. It's just like adding more water, more and more and more water into a glass. A glass is full and then over full, and then the going new water will displace the existing water. And it is the same. We add more information. The information we have a week ago, 2 weeks ago, if we don't bring it back, it's not new anymore. It's fade away, or maybe we can lose it at all. So when we actually think about that, study about that, we create relationship, we organize it, and we can easily retrieve, or we can easily remember it better, to do some kind of organization, some kind of rehearsal, some kind of associations to each other or to the previous knowledge or to whatever we can easily remember. We'll see that next. Is better than not doing anything. Uh, so this is it. The two parts of memory, short-term and long-term memory, are very important. Especially the long-term memory is where we have to exhaust using it in studying method. Perception is a way we get information. Well, there is a debate on this. So some people say we get information from the sense organs, through the sense organs from our environment. There is another group say, oh no, that's not correct, but we get information from the way we were created inherently, from general knowledge, from divine. Um, there are lots of arguments over there. I'm not going to go into that, but here the information we receive is, let's say, we'll deal with the perception, perceiving information. Why perceiving information is important in study anyway? It is because the way we perceive determines the information we acquire, the information we get. If we hear to somebody talking properly, we get full information. If we see something properly, we get more information. If we sit in a lecture room but not listening to the lecturer, if we are gone out in our thinking to somewhere that bothers us, or something that maybe of worrying or maybe of thinking us outside the classroom, we are not perceiving the lesson that moment, and the information is not in. If you sit in the library, open the book or our note, sitting there reading 2-3 times on a single line, we are not doing it, we are not receiving it. It's a waste of time. So perceiving is the most important thing in getting information and even processing it. So the way we perceive determines the information we form. If you don't perceive it, if you don't hear it, if you don't read it, if you don't really follow up the things we are doing, if you are not attentive, there is no way we get information, and the information we get could be fragmented, confused, or even inappropriate at all. So whenever we are in the classroom, whenever we are in the library, whenever we are reading the book, that moment is where we start actually the thing that we're doing, studying right way. If information is missing, we'll come to that, how to get full information. But if you miss something in the classroom, usually raise your hand up, ask, and fill the gap. Um, that is for now. Thank you for watching this video. There are more videos to come, and please come back and follow up that. This study skills will have 9, 10 to maybe 12 videos. This is the references. This is, as I said, it's a professional study skills, and very very important. You can back up or you can advance um, your skills and get more advantage from these study materials. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.